Oh my god, hi. Okay, so I have tried to sit down and record this, but it looks like all the powers that be are saying no because I just had to uninstall like 10 apps on this so that I could record this video. I know my iPhone 11 is hanging on by a thread. Anyway, that's not what you came here to discuss today. You came here to discuss being a floater friend. I don't know why I'm looking at you like that because I very much so am a floater friend. Anyway, on to the topic of our conversation today, which is being a floater friend. Honestly, I don't know why I felt compelled to talk about it today. Actually, no, I do know why I felt compelled to talk about it today. I just got out of class today. I only had one, so I don't know why I'm putting so much pressure on myself. But I got out of school today and I walked to my car and I got in and I was like, hold on. I don't think I talked at all today at school other than obviously participating because I'm gonna rack up those participation points. Nonetheless, I don't think it invalidates what I was kind of feeling on the inside, which is I feel like I am low-key backsliding into kind of how I used to be as well. The floater friend. Anyway, so what is a floater friend? How did we get here? Why are you on this video? A floater friend is it's different depending on your life experience, obviously. And for me, I would define it as the friend who you are my closest friend. I am not your closest friend. I tell you everything, but you don't quite tell me everything. Or I hear about plans, but after the fact. And I'd say I have a pretty interesting relationship when it comes to that. Let's bring it all back. Because I have a very interesting relationship with the concept of a floater friend because I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know if I know life outside of that because the one friendship that I would say is very much so not like that. We are is my sister, and I feel like genuinely it's because she ain't got no other option. I was her default best friend. Anyway, so I feel like the feelings that I'm having are kind of interesting because I don't know, I'm just gonna let my brain wander, but it's something that I've kind of been thinking about lately, especially because I'm 20 years old. I am technically, I think, an upperclassman at my university at this point. Yeah, I kind of had goals and expectations for myself as to how I would be navigating my life in my 20s, especially because now I'm at that formidable time where I'm seeing the peers around me kind of develop some sort of independence, living alone. I have a friend right now who's doing a study abroad thing in Spain, and I'm just wow. And I think it's kind of tied to my the tragedy that is my life, low-key, because why the fuck am I a late bloomer to everything? I don't know, I feel like me being a floater friend is kind of the final nail in the coffin to kind of how I low-key feel my life has been. I feel like I've never been super adapts to how life kind of should be. I feel I'm I make a joke about it sometimes, but I low-key feel people got a socialization class that I just never find out to sign up for. Maybe my advisor screwed me over again, I don't fucking know, but I don't know, there are just some things that they look like they come innately to other people that I feel don't to me, and I feel friendship is one of those things. And I think even back to when I was a kid, because part of this whole debacle of being a floater friend, I think it genuinely is a different experience that I get as a third culture kid, basically meaning that I kind of experience two cultures, but I never feel fully part of either. So I have some aspects of Kenya socialization, and then I have some aspects of American socialization, and they all blend together at the perfect amount for me to just feel I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in either country, which is, yeah, it's amazing for me, guys. So, like I said, I grew up for part of my childhood in Kenya, and I grew up for the other part of my childhood in America. And in both places, I kind of did feel like, what the fuck am I supposed to do, like, constantly every single time when it came to friendship, because, like, it's one of those things that I just have never been able to fully grasp, and I'm just like, damn, am I failing at friendship? But, like, outside of the sarcastic tone that I take when I'm talking about that, I do genuinely feel like, am I failing at my friendships? Because why am I 0 for 3 at, like, junior year? I mean, obviously 0 for 3 will be at the end of my spring semester, then I can fully be like, damn, you really are 0 for 3. But my friendships seem to never progress past the point of we see each other in class or we see each other in the hallway and we wave at each other. But I think I can count on one hand the amount of friends' houses that I have, like, been inside of, and it's so odd that I've, like, never really done that. And I don't know, I think a lot of it is also tied to, like, anxiety that I have, because especially when I moved to America and I had to basically forget all of the things that I learned when it came to, like, socialization and making friends in Kenya, because school is a big part of how you're able to make friends, and I was transitioning to a very different school regimen. Like, in America, it's new people every beginning of the school year, but in Kenya you have the same people from 1st grade to 8th grade, and that's kind of what I was expecting to happen. Like, the people that I met in 5th grade, that we were gonna wrap up 8th grade with them, but imagine my surprise when I walk into my 6th grade year class and I see nobody. It really did feel like an instant replay of, like, my first year in America, where I was just like, what the hell, constantly every single time. And I had this, like, fervent need for friendship, because that was one of the things that family back home would, like, point to as, like, the first thing, like, oh my gosh, hey, how are you, are you in good health, have you made friends? Like, that's kind of how, like, rapid fire these questions would come, and I just had to be like, yes, I am totally making friends. I'm actually the most popular person ever. They are so in love with me that they're gonna let me have an honorary title at homecoming, even though I am in elementary school. So it's just, I don't know. So that's, like, my 5th grade, my 6th grade, and then I started to get more used to it in 7th grade. When I moved here, the fact that, like, I'll have basically none of the same people in my classes, but actually I think I got the better end of it, because I was put in a lot of more advanced classes, which the pool was smaller of, like, people that I could commingle with, but I didn't get along with those people because I forgot to preface this, but basically they are super smart bionic freaks who were also really good at sports, and I wasn't. Despite my build, despite being, like, super tall and lanky, and being from East Africa, I in fact cannot run, I cannot jump, I have the endurance of a small child that is ready for bed. I'm tired constantly, so that's, like, another part of socialization that I missed out on. I was too aware of myself to let myself, like, fully be there for my like, activities. So I never really did sports, and that would have really helped me out, if I'm being honest, when it came to making friends, but I just never did. And I think it would have really helped, like, push the envelope on progressing my friendships outside of, like, the 4 walls of, like, a classroom, because that's kind of, like, something I've always had trouble with. Like, when do I ask my friend, like, oh my god, do you want to go on a friendship date here and here and here and here and here and here? I have a hard time with that. Like, it is so bad. Yeah, so, like, life progresses like that, and also I'm just so fortunate enough to be like this and be at a majority white high school, which, damn. I was just collecting L's to the left, right, and center. So, let's see. My middle school experience was basically just getting hit with constant, like, lows when it came to friendships, because I think we did have some sort of, like, dance or something that we would do. See, like, I rarely experienced these things to the point where I'm like, did we actually do that when we were in middle school? I think we did have dances, because people were getting asked out, and it definitely was not me, because actually, I think if I think about it, I was asked out as a joke once. Honestly, you should get out a bingo card and like see how much you resonate with me as much as like experiences throughout high school, middle school, and college. That only happened once, and I think they didn't do it again because I kind of was like guys, I was so anxious every single time that I was always like, huh, when like people would say things. Yeah, so that was kind of like my middle school experience. I would always only have friends who we would just like come together. Like I would start talking to you during like school hours, and since I never did any sports, I would get on that bus like that building is on fire, and I would go straight home. I think that mindset didn't really help when it came to anything, but if anything, it just made stuff so much fucking harder. I'm sorry, I felt the need to move you because I don't think you don't need to see my kneecaps like that. Yeah, so high school did not get any better, and I feel like if you are a floater friend, COVID did not make anything better because that really was looking like the lowest point in my life, if I'm being honest, at the point where my parents were like, sorry. But I don't know. It kind of really like made me see, like for real, that the people that I was like counting as my friend were really not my friends because rarely anybody reached out, if I'm being honest, during COVID. And so like my freshman experience, which I'm a big person on like synchronicities, like my 13th birthday was a big one for me. Not like big as in like I celebrated. Obviously I called nobody to my fucking house because I had nobody to call, but I was just like, this is like, things are gonna be different, things are gonna change. And also I am pretty young for my grade, so I would turn 13 and then I would turn 14. Like my birthday would happen and then a new school year would happen, right? So 13 was like, I need to lock in, and then my 14th birthday. Yeah, so I have no idea what happened to the audio. Maybe it's like my fucking phone again. But I don't know. Doesn't matter. Also, do you like the photo? I thought my makeup looked cute there. But anyway, so I was like, I gotta lock in from ages 13 to 14 because I need to be ready for when school starts right after I turn 14 so I can make as many friends as possible. And my plans were thwarted by COVID and my rampant anxiety. Every single time I talk about anything, it always leads back to me being anxious about it, and I'm just like, dang, I need to be medicated. And before I got rudely interrupted, so freshman year, total wash because of COVID. Sophomore year, not much better. I was fully virtual. Junior year, I hit the ground running. I made back a bunch of the friendships that I didn't have, and that was actually the year that I went to prom. That was the year that I was hanging out with a bunch of friends. Honestly, I think it was because they were also like low-key sentimental. So that year I went to prom, and no hard feelings against the girl that I went with. We're just like not friends anymore because life took us different directions. I don't know. And also she never reached out to me. I never really did, but I'm just kind of like, I got to the point where I was like, if I don't ask you, are you gonna put it upon yourself to ask me? No? Ugh. Yeah, so that was kind of the attitude that I wrapped up junior year with. And then my senior year, I was only there for one semester because big brain. I racked up enough credits early enough that I was just like, you know what? I hate, despise, absolutely loathe the experience I had at this high school. You're never gonna see me again. They did see me one last time, and that was for me to do my cap and gown ceremony, and I hated it so bad. Then I was like, you know what, serendipity, I am starting college, we're gonna start that back up again. And then I did, and then I pushed myself, and then I was so far like out of my comfort zone that I was just like, I can't. And then I like let myself kind of like retreat back into my little hobbit hole where it's me, my sister, and a few other friends who, it's so great being the floater friend in a friendship group with your sibling. Shout out to you guys, you forgot my birthday, and I think I can count like 2 presents that you guys ever gave me, so, but amazing. But yeah, I kind of gave myself like the leeway to just, pass my classes and have that be that, because like I said, nothing comes easy to me, and I was commuting to school and I got my driver's license so last minute. I was the senior that is still riding the bus, which is the reason why I had to get the hell up out of there, out of that high school. Anyway, so, and then freshman and sophomore year kind of just like flew by, and then now I'm just like, oh, I'm an upperclassman, and I have like 2 friends, and I'm just like, ah. And those 2 friends are kind of, one of them literally isn't here, and the other one I'm just like, oh, I'm your friend, but you're not really my friend. Not on any like anything bad. I'm just like, relationally, she's closer to some people than she is with me, but I have a smaller pool to pick from, so I open up to her more than she does me. So that's just the way the cookie crumbled, I guess. Anyway, sorry, this is so off topic, but this has been my obsession. I low-key think I have a cavity right now from them.